This Everclear is kicking my ass.
Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching, and the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Really hope you enjoyed last week's interview with Jason Voorhees himself, stuntman, stand-in. Man, he was even a gun spinner on Stay Tuned. I'm talking about Ken Kiersinger. Such a great chat. If you haven't heard that yet, you're going to have to wait until after this to go check that out. And before, this is a very special moment. This is our 73rd review, but more importantly, it's our 200th episode. I can't believe it. You got to think 300 is a perfect game of bowling. 200, not too bad. Not too bad.
Not too bad at all. And I can't even believe we made it this far. Like I didn't think we were going to get past 10.
Well, we did, and that is the voice of my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome. A little cold here, but I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty cold because I'm out in my shed, but it's worth it. 200 episodes, and what a perfect one. I didn't even talk about it. I said Jason Voorhees. Sure, whoever's listening to this is our big Friday the 13th fans, but we're talking about Freddy versus Jason. Ken, who worked on Jason Takes Manhattan, almost was Jason in that, became just the stunt double and the stand-in, and he was the stunt coordinator on that movie. But man, Freddy versus Jason, when was the last time you saw this movie?
A long time ago. I mean, and I've said this many times, I'm not a horror fan, but I did see every Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. Like, those are the only two horrors that I saw, and I saw them all. I'm more a Freddy fan than Jason fan.
Okay.
But in this movie, I almost like Jason more. Nice. Little yellow, but, pretty good. But, the movie's great, and I know it took 10 years from, them to make it, I guess from the last movies, but is this a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, or is this a Friday the 13th movie?
I think they split it, because it's New Line. At this point, New Line, so like we talked about when we did Jason Takes Manhattan, that was the movie that Rob Hedden, the director and writer, wanted to make Freddy vs. Jason, but you got to think, Jason came off the 7th movie that did good. But what did Nightmare on Elm Street come off the year before? The Dream Master, the highest grossing horror movie, of that time. It was the MTV of horror. So at that point, they were probably like a boxing fight. If Mayweather's fighting Joe Schmo, he's not going to give Joe Schmo the split of the purse. So that's probably why they couldn't do it then. And it took this long for it to actually come to fruition.
Well, think about, this is like the Arnold and Stallone of horror movies, because it took until the Escape Plan for them to make a movie together, and that was
insane.
Like 30 years later, 20 years later. So no, this is iconic. I mean, but definitely a little different than I remember it.
I do too. It's funny that, and we'll get into it, of course, but this was the first movie in my life that I remember on the internet being on like forums and chats and horror websites and reading like, oh, here's the script. Because it took this was like the 10th treatment for it to happen. So I remember in like 97 and 98 reading a script from my buddy Tom, and we were reading the script for the movie, and then it was like, oh, it's not going to get made. It's not going to get made. And then finally in 2003, still, it's so cool. I love about it. We'll get into it. But the fan servicing of it, like each side, if you're a Nightmare on Elm Street fan and that's all you can like it. Because they give just enough of a backstory. They don't give a ton. It's not like they're using like hidden things that, oh, you never saw the third Nightmare on Elm Street, you won't get this part. None of that.
No. Listen, even if you've never seen the movies, the two characters, right? So they gave two great backstories that we've never seen before, and I think that was well done. I would love to be at the meeting though of like Team Jason versus Team, Freddy, like. They're like, all right, listen, Freddy's got to get the less kill. No, Jason is. Like, I wonder if there was like a battle back and forth to see who's going to have more screen time. And, The way the movie is, I almost feel like it's a Nightmare on Elm Street movie with Jason as the guest, because he seems to be leading the movie, but he's a very different Freddy than I remember. So
yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to say that I did like the movie a lot, but I do have a couple things that I did not like.
Well, the fact that they actually finally, like, they would like touch on the subject that Freddy was like killing kids, like little kids, and being creepy with kids. And then in that remake that they did with Kelly Leak from Bad News Bears, then that was like over the top, like showing the creepiness. But man, when they show him with the little kid in the room and the photos
and all the photos, yeah. But we'll get I'll talk about some of the things that I didn't like. So I
can't wait. And just so you guys know, after the episode, I was going to put out like a separate one, but after the episode, we'll talk a few minutes about 200 episodes and reminiscing just a little bit, nothing too crazy. So stay tuned after, and don't forget to subscribe, share, and follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. So I love the beginning of this movie. Like we talked about, New Line bought Friday the 13th for Jason Goes to Hell. That was like the one that they put out. And dude, I love the beginning. In fact, not the creepiness of Freddy, but him sharpening his claws, and he's Robert Englund. He's just Freddy Krueger himself.
No, I agree. That was a great beginning. Because you never see him, as not Freddy. So that was very cool. What I did not like about the beginning, and this is a kind of start of what I didn't like about the movie, is the fact that I didn't like the Freddy narration. I think that was a little corny. I think that was a little corny because to me, it took away a little of the horror aspect, a little of the, just the creepiness of it. It made it almost like a silly, like, to me, they made this Freddy like the Stifler in American Wedding. Like where Stifler used to be cool. He was a jerk, but he was always cool in the first two movies. And then he became like the laughing stock of like the group. Freddy was like a dope. Like, he was just like, I don't know, like he was too goofy in this movie.
Well, I think what they did, they took the most popular of the franchise, obviously like 1 and 3, but like 4 and 5 is when he became MTV Freddy, Funny Freddy. That's what put Robert Englund. He was already on the map, but that's when he had like the Freddy Nightmares. He had the 1-900 number. So that's who he was. Like some of the lines that he was doing during the narration. Don't get me wrong,
his one-liners have always been great in the movies. I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like he was just so goofy. I mean, listen, at one point he does an elbow drop. Okay. I mean, it was just so silly, but I mean, again, it's, I think, okay. And I'm going to say it now. One of the biggest gripes I have is I feel like first of all, I don't even know what the plot is of this movie. Like, I don't think that.
I can tell you the plot right now. It's really opening. He needs, in order for him to be in people's dreams, he needs the kids to fear him. Correct. So his idea, let me go inside Jason, who's dead in somebody, dead in the lake, zombie Jason, which, how does he bleed later in the movie? And Freddy bleed later in the movie? We'll talk about that because that doesn't make any sense because they should be bones.
Well, how did he even know who Jason is? How did Freddy know who Jason is?
Well, it's not too far from each other. So Ohio to New Jersey, they should know. They drove it at the end of the movie. So they should know of each other, maybe.
Well, I don't think Jason knows anybody. That's true. So, that's, and there's a lot of things that Jason does in this movie, which I don't understand. But yeah, no. All right, let's get into it.
Okay. Well, right away, this movie, I got to say, this follows the rules of the 80s. There are some of the most random boobs. There's some that, okay, she's going to get ready to go in the lake. That makes sense. Fine. You see her boobs. She's going to go skinny dipping.
But later, sense. It's 12 o'clock at night. It's like midnight again. It's midnight swimming alone, naked. That makes sense to you?
It doesn't make sense. You know what I thought about? When she jumps in, I'm like, there's no way in hell. Even if, I don't know, Victoria Silvstedt, Playmate of the Year, 1996, says, Doug, jump in this foggy lake with me. Or go in the foggy lake, get naked, I'll be down in 5 minutes. I wouldn't do it.
I don't like going into a lake when it's during the day. I'm afraid there's going to be like snakes and things in there. They're going at midnight and like literally, like she was alone. Like there was nobody around. She would not do that. And then what's the point of taking your clothes off? You're like, is naked swimming at night that much better than wearing a bikini? Like, is there a difference?
If anybody listening has done regular clothes, full clothes swimming and naked swimming, let us know the difference at Sequels Only. Or if you're a doctor that deals with that, that'd be a pretty good job. Actually.
And we may need proof if that's
No, but you're right. But then it obviously makes sense in a few minutes. This is just a dream.
But the fact that literally, I don't know if the movie was on for 5 minutes and boobs were right away. Like it almost seemed like it was a joke to do, just to say, hey, we're throwing back to the 80s because the last Freddy movie and Jason movie were actually, Freddy doesn't really have too much nudity in this movie. It's more Jason. I think more Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, does Freddy have any? I don't think he has any.
Really. It might have one or two. Like, it's not a lot. So I think it was almost a throwback to Friday the 13th. But like, it was just so unnecessary and right in your, and like literally, I think it was like zoomed in. Like, it was like right in your face. It was so funny.
Now, was that Jason's dream, or was Jason dreaming and Freddy put that in the dream?
Jason wasn't alive yet.
Well, he was sort of alive. He was in some kind of comatose state or coma state.
How did Freddy get him alive?
Because he must have been in like a coma state.
Oh. So he's. See, I don't understand this whole Jason thing. So electrocution wakes him up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Water. Or how else does he get up? Like, what were the other ways? He was electrocuted twice.
Well, he's electrocuted to get up in six. No, 6 was electrocution. 7 was telekinesis from that girl.
Yes, telekinesis.
8 was electrocution, and then he was somehow 9. In Jason Goes to Hell, they totally forgot the end of 8 because he was somehow running in the woods and he got shot up. And then, so electrocution.
So do you think they met in hell? Like they were friends in hell? Or like he knew him, like as a neighbor in hell?
They were buddies.
Because he had to know him. Like there were 2 separate places. First of all, Crystal Lake is that close to.
Well, it's in New Jersey to Ohio. You can do that in 8-9 hours. Well, in the movie, they do it way too fast.
Very, very fast. So it's okay. Right.
Yeah, because they wouldn't be able to do that. It was already late at night, and they're still there, and it's still late at night. So,
okay,
that was a little bit questionable. But no, I don't know how he must have been in some coma state because that's the only way that Freddy can't go inside somebody that's actually dead. So he must have been taking a nap. Maybe he was hibernating like a bear.
I feel like he does that a lot, though. He does a lot of hibernation.
He does. And then you get his mom. I like it. I like the mom saying, "You're sleeping and I need you to go to Elm Street." And then right from there, he wakes up. Zombie Jason wakes up.
But that's all he needs. He needs his mom speaking to him. And I think the woman did a great job.
She was great.
She she definitely reminded you of the original mom. So
and just before this, the one thing I love about this movie was Ronnie Yu's direction, the fighting style and the kills. Because when you're watching this movie, again, these guys, the kills are going to happen. But I think I love the quickness of them because there were so many other things going on. But that Hong Kong style fighting and the kills were like that. When he stabs the girl with the machete through the tree, it's like super fast. You see the blood, and then it's done.
Yeah, I think, I mean, when I said I didn't know the plot, I know the basic plot, but I think what happens in this movie is after you know the plot, it's just basically tons of throwback to Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. Just like the way the kills are, like they throw everything in your face. I mean, it kicks off like right away, and like the kills and like it just brings you, it's a lot of nostalgia, back to the movies, the way that was happening. So that was very cool.
I love that. I like when other movies do the nostalgia, like they do like a new story. But I think this was perfect because it was so long. You had Robert Englund back. He has to be it.
Yeah.
And Ken did a great job because Ronnie Yu, Robert, I think is 5'8", and Kane is only 6'1". So he wanted somebody towering when they were fighting in like the real world, so to speak. So Ken's 6'5", so you see that huge, massive
he
difference
looked
between the
huge.
two.
He looked huge. Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, and then within seconds, Jason is on Elm Street. He's walking on friggin' Elm. That's awesome. How'd he get there so fast?
That was one of my questions. How did he find it? Because his mom said you gotta, start killing or whatever. And then he somehow walks there, knows exactly where Elm Street is.
It would have been funny if they had like a Sarah Connor and he's killing on all different Elm Streets on the way. Elm Street in West New Jersey, Elm Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And then they're like, hey, Jason, wrong Elm Street. Supposed to go to Springwood, Ohio.
And he walked there. I mean,
and he's slow.
He's very slow. So, I mean, yeah. Well, teleport Jason. We discussed this many times.
You know what? He probably did teleport. You're right. He definitely probably teleported.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? There doesn't have to be a reason. Like, there doesn't have to be, we know it's Jason. We know what he does. If it's so far-fetched that the fact that he does get there doesn't even matter.
I know.
The fact that he's there, it's just, that's what's great about these movies. Like, you don't need to dissect it and figure out, how did he get there? It's Jason. Doesn't matter.
He's just there. I don't care how he gets there. I don't care if somebody rubbed a friggin' genie lamp and said, I want Jason Voorhees back. People will be like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, no, that's what we need.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
That's awesome.
So then we get the main cast of the movie. We get Kelly Rowland, who is still, Destiny Child was still together at this time. She plays Kia. Catherine Isabel, who's in Ginger Snaps and Ginger Snaps 2. She plays Gib, and then Monica Keena, who's the star. And we'll talk about her as Lori. Did they purposely just make her shirt lower and lower throughout the movie? Was somebody taking a thread and moving it? Because the final scene of the movie, it is so low. And I'm like, I understand why the director would do that, for the, a horror movie. But I'm like, wow, that's a little, it's getting lower and lower.
It was getting lower and lower. And she does a lot of screaming throughout the whole movie. I mean, she's even screaming at her father multiple times. And like, I wonder if she was if she's known as a horror scream queen, because she has that piercing scream that she does. After a while, I was like, all right, I can't take it anymore, because she does scream almost every other sentence is a scream.
Yeah, I think this movie was pretty much out of the box when I looked at her IMDb. I feel like she was in totally opposite things of this.
Oh, really?
No, I think she does a pretty good job, because her character totally transforms. She's kind of weak, and her friends kind of bully her. But how about the first thing they're doing? They're playing Marry, Fuck, Kill with the Three Stooges.
Both of them, both rounds that they play are the most bizarre. Is that what women do? You picture all right, when girls have sleepovers, they're having pillow fights. All right, which I don't think happens. So now, do they really play this game? And if they do, and I can see them playing this game, you're going to put the two most random three people, the Three Stooges. First of all, I don't even think they knew who the Three Stooges are.
Well, the one didn't know which one was which one has the bad toupee? Oh, the one who wears the wig, yeah.
And then the second one was they threw Scooby in there.
Yeah, Scooby, Shaggy, and
Fred.
Fred, yeah.
Now, what if they said, have sex with Scooby? Which that would have been funny. If she didn't say that, I think she said kill Scooby, and marry Fred. But it's just so there were two such weird games they were playing.
That was some 65-year-old producer with a bunch of cash, like Sean Cunningham, who was one of the producers and created Friday the 13th. He's like, oh man, you know what the kids would love? Three Stooges.
So stupid. And at first I thought the main girl was Brittany Murphy. She looked just like Brittany Murphy.
She looks like her, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. Then after a while, I was like, oh no, but I thought it looked just like her.
Yeah, but they're playing that. I can't believe that they're doing that.
I know.
And then you have the douche boyfriend come in that's dating Gib, who is like that hot tomboy chick. And dude, the fact that they're setting the friend up, they're setting up Lori with this guy, and he is not as big of the other guy's an asshole. He's just a douche. When he says, I really like the feng shui.
Well, I don't even think they're setting up, they're forcing her on him.
They were. That's
so.
true.
It wasn't even a setup, like, because she wanted no part of it, and she was forcing, like, come on. And the kid, he went over and sat next to her. Well, it was just weird. First of all, she looked over at him, and he's like scratching his balls. That was the first impression, So
yeah, Kia was like, "How long has it been since you kissed Will?" And she's like, "Oh, how long has it been since you've been with a guy?" And she was like, "Will." And it's like, "Well, why haven't you?" And be like, "Oh, maybe because my mom died." And she's like, "Come on, he's cute." It's like, Jesus, this is like it's a special moment for her. She wants it to be special. And it's this guy that, like you said, scratching his balls. He pulls out a flask and puts his arm around almost both of them.
Okay, so they go into like a sort of like not a house party, but they're hanging out. Who brings a flask? Who? I mean, like, I would say bring a flask to a football game or something, But you're going to someone's house. You're not going to bring a bottle of vodka or whatever whiskey or whatever you're drinking. Like, you're going to bring a flask.
They look like loser alcoholics. They're not in high school anymore. I'm guessing they're probably like in their mid-20s because they're down. The guy that is dating Gib is not in high school.
I don't think any of them look like they're in high school.
That's true.
I mean, really. I mean, so yeah. I mean, there's no way girls look like that in high school. So
Oh, I know. Yeah, and then we get Gib. She goes upstairs with her douchebag guy. And the first thing he says is like, "Oh, babe, you're smoking a cigarette. You're gross." But I do like when she flicks the cigarette and it hits Jason in the face.
This movie does have a lot of comedy. Again, I think because Friday the 13th doesn't really have comedy, and it was cool to see Jason involved with some of the comedy.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah,
I mean, that was a good no smoking ad. You smoke, and then Jason.
Well, they caught her smoking downstairs. She was facing the other way, smoking in the house. Like, she was hiding smoking 3 feet away from her friends. That didn't make any sense.
So she goes in the shower again, quick boobs. Like,
it's unbelievable.
Just to show her like that. And then the guy's like, "Hey, babe, you going to make me a sandwich? Babe." And then, dude, Jason, I love this.
This is one of my favorite kills I think he's ever done. Like, it's just, and and I think that's what this movie does, because it's been so long since they made either movie. They kind of upped it up, they ramped it up a little bit for kills.
Yeah.
Like I think he was already almost dead before he did
was.
the second. Right. So they didn't have to do the second part. It just looked so cool the way they did it.
Yeah, Ken, that was his favorite kill in all that, and even in Manhattan. He loved the fact that they did they fold him backwards. And it looked so real.
It did.
You see the guy's head the whole time.
Yeah. But doesn't he hold on to his beer when he gets stabbed? I noticed that. Like, he was holding on to his beer the whole time. So, I give him a little props for that.
No soldiers left behind, And then when they all run outside, they run into a cop, and the cop, Deputy Stubbs, that I'm telling you, this guy, I don't think he gets enough credit as an actor, because he plays these type of roles. I think he plays them so well. Lachlan Monroe, you got to think, Dead Man on Campus, hilarious, scary movie, hilarious. And in this, he plays a pretty good character. He's the out of town cop. He's like the first one in any of the movies, really, to question, like, hey, what's going on in this town?
Well, it's because he looks the same age as them. I think so I think that's part of it. I mean, he looks like he just graduated, into the police force. No, he's awesome. He's great. And, I wonder, was this before some of his other movies like this, or was he?
This is after Dead Man on Campus is like 96, 97. I think Scary Movie, the first one's like 2000 or 2001. So yeah.
Okay. Because he does mostly comedy, right?
Yeah, I would say mostly, yeah.
Okay. No, I think he was great. And the other guy looked familiar too. The main cop, like the older guy.
Well, that's our guest soon, Gary Chalk, Sheriff Williams. I'll be talking to Gary in a couple weeks. We talked on Instagram today, and he's excited, so that'll be a lot of fun. But I love that the cops know about Freddy, and even when the kids are like, why are they asking us about our dreams? Like, what does it matter about our dreams? Wouldn't they know? Like, I guess it'd be really hard in this scenario. It makes it think, because Gib was in the shower, so he could have passed out. So it does make you as the audience, or not the audience, as the other kids, thinking like, oh, maybe it could have been Freddy.
Well, I think one thing this movie does are people fall asleep in the most random places. that I don't understand how they're sleeping, like almost like too quick. So like, I mean, and I wonder how, unless I missed it, how long was the last Freddy kill where did this movie take place? Because the fact that none of these kids know Freddy at all. I know the parents have blocked it and they got rid of everything. So like, had to be a long time. I mean, I know in real world it's like 10 years, right? Was it like 10 years?
Well, if you think about it, so if you remember Wes Craven's New Nightmare, that kind of makes the movie. It's a movie within a movie.
Yeah, correct.
About a movie, and then he is actually real. But if you go like Freddy's Dead, I guess that's like 91?
Right. I was thinking
90?
92, 93. Right. So
yeah, 13 years, that's a long time that you can kind of get people to not think about it.
You know, I don't know. This is a guy. Okay, so 5 movies, which means this guy has killed so many people.
Oh, I know.
That's hard to bury. You know, so I question, and we say this all the time. You know, in these movies when we watch these sequels, how do people not know what happened in the past? You know, so things that are so prominent.
Yeah, even if they don't know that Freddy did it, maybe if that doesn't leak out, because you think how many really survivors are there? Nancy dies in the third one. The only one that really survived is Alice.
Yeah.
Alice Johnson's the only one that's really alive. I don't know if in Freddy's Dead anyone else survives, but really nobody else is there to carry on the story, so they could just say suicide or died in their sleep.
So, okay, so I'm glad you mentioned Freddy's Dead. So Freddy's Dead is right before this one? Or no?
I guess that's the last one as Freddy. It's not the Weird New Nightmare.
Right.
Not Weird New Nightmare.
Right. So does he go to hell in that one? Is that...
Well, he is in hell because in Jason Goes to Hell...
No, I know
Freddy
that.
pulls... Yeah, so I guess he is in hell, yeah. So maybe they did meet in hell.
Okay, well, they had to. He grabs a mask. Oh, no, he grabs
bingo night.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Bingo night. So then we have, so Laurie, like you said, I know it is weird that they fall asleep, but I think at this point, these kids aren't, from this point on, I don't think they really fall asleep like in their own beds. I think they're still like, they're probably at the police station all night, but Laurie, she falls asleep and she has her own little, nightmare. But I love when she's walking around the police station. I love when the posters turn the missing kid poster, which are a lot of missing kids in that town.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Well, okay, so so the fact that these kids are falling asleep and they're finally getting into Freddy's nightmare, why were they not getting into the nightmare before?
Because he didn't have any strength yet. There was nobody thinking about Freddy. They heard people say at the police station, oh, they asked about our dreams in this guy. I heard the name Fred Krueger. So just that little bit gives him like that little bit of power.
Yeah, I get that. But in the other movies, those kids weren't thinking about Freddy. Like in the first movie, they weren't thinking about Freddy. And Freddy was able to get in there.
No, they did know about Fred Krueger because Nancy in the first movie, I'm trying to think how it started. There was something that he was mentioned, and then he got, I guess the first kill to, I can't think of her name, Amanda, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I can't think of her name, but she's in a ton of stuff. But that first kill, I don't remember. I'm sure Chris Egan will text me about this. But no, I forgot if that first kill, if there was some inkling before about Fred Krueger, if there was like a story that was told about it. I know later in the movie there's more about it. But
Right. Okay. All right. But yeah, the police station dream is, I mean, those posters are very cool. The way they did that.
And then the girl's bleeding from her eyes and she's thinking that she's out of the dream and then she has to go and then she goes and then we forget because earlier she lives in Freddy's old house. So she goes to 1428 Elm Street and the little kids are doing the one.
Who would buy that house? Who would buy that house?
It must be free at this point, right?
Who would buy as parents? Because obviously the parents knew or the mom knew. Or the dad knew. Why would they buy that house? Like, having one murder. If I'm looking for a house and I find out there's a murder in the house, I don't think I'm buying that house. Let alone multiple murders.
Let's not even talk about the person that buying it because you might be from out of town. Wouldn't the neighbors be good? Wouldn't that be the greatest neighborly thing? As soon as a real estate agent goes in the back, they're like, "Oh, you got to see the pool," and it's like, "Hey guys, I got to tell you, this house, people die in this house." Yeah.
I got news.
And then the real estate agent shouts in the back, "Yeah, people are dying to get a deal. Check out this in-ground pool."
Dude, if I'm a neighbor, I'm not living there anymore. I mean,
oh, that's true.
Think about it. Like why the same? Like I want, like, I don't know. Bad parenting. Always bad parenting.
Always bad parenting. And then the neighbor, as soon as the real estate agent like walks into the room, he's like, "Hey, there's a guy who used to live here who used to slash. What'd you say? Were you going to slash the price? Or you slash the price?"
That'd be like a curb kind of thing.
That would be good. Yeah.
So, back to the girl with the eyes. Now that girl was very young. She looked like she was like 9.
Yeah.
Doesn't it kind of mess with her? Like, I mean, she did an incredible job. I mean, like the way, like her dialogue that she has while her eyes are closed, that looked like it was like sewn shut or whatever, like was going on. I mean, extremely creepy. But wouldn't that mess with her? Like as a child, like, I mean, like that's not gonna give her nightmares. Like,
well, maybe not. Maybe they're like, "Oh, it's just raspberry or it's jelly." Or
well, I wonder if, like, because since you can't see what she looks like, I wonder if they told her, "No, you're in the forest with a bunch of animals, and it's like, she doesn't realize where she is."
Yeah. And I love that she's so in like trance looking at the girls jump rope, and then Freddy just goes, "Boo!" He just pops up.
That, you know what? Seeing those girls doing the jump rope and singing was awesome, because they found girls that look exactly like the ones from the original movies. Like,
yeah,
like exactly. Like it was awesome. That was like a good throwback.
That perfect nostalgia. And then we cut to the drunk bro, his buddy Blake, who we don't know what happened, right? We only Gibbs screamed and saw the body, but I'm sure everybody went up to double check, right? So, or maybe at least he ran in the room, right? To see like, oh my God, my buddy got killed this way.
Didn't he go to school the next day?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, how the hell do you go to school the day after witnessing the most horrific murder you possibly could see? I mean, to see that in person has got to be like crazy. Like, I see that in person.
Yeah.
To see a dead body in person in general. But to see a body in half, pushed in half in a bed, it's got to be extremely disturbing. How do you go to school next day and act like nothing?
It's traumatizing. I think she even says like, "Dad, I just want to be normal for the day," or something like that. It's like, I could not, my freaking hamster died when I was like in 3rd grade. I took like 2 days off. I couldn't deal with it. They saw this horrific murder.
And they're all hanging around like, hey, they're talking like, so weird. I would not be able to go to school. I'm surprised they didn't close the school down. Like, I mean, that's something
they should have.
That's crazy. So,
or other movies, they usually offer counseling, unless he's not from the town and he's 30 and he graduated 12 years ago. They're like, "Oh, whatever. He was asking for it." Bound to happen. No, my question is, Blake it was his friend.
Yep.
He went upstairs, probably saw the body. So how does he have the balls in the next scene to say, "Dude, I'm going to kill that I heard him say, Freddy, I'm going to kill him myself. I'm going to find him and I'm going to smash his head in."
Well, he seems like that guy that at every party, he wants to try to fight somebody, but gets his ass kicked every single time.
Yeah.
That's what he seems like. So, everybody knows that one guy. We might have worked with them at True Green.
We might have worked with them, yes. No, but then you get Freddy, and then he's on his porch thinking about like killing Freddy. He nods off, and then Freddy's trying to kill him with his shadow.
Before, is that before or after he has that argument with his dad?
Well, that is right after he argues with his dad, then he falls asleep.
But the way he talked to his dad, what I forget what he said, but like something like, "Give me an effing break," or like he just like, I forget what he said, like, oh, ridiculous.
Yeah, he says like, "Give me an effing break. My best friend just got murdered." Like, wouldn't the dad be like, "All right, you're right. You know what? I'll give you a break. Your best friend got murdered."
Yeah, the father was like kind of being a dick to him as soon as he walked outside. Like, I mean, like,
I think he asked about his drinking. Were you drinking? I think that's what it was.
And he had his flask right next to him. Was it? He was literally sitting right next to him. Are you drinking? No.
It's like Velcro to his pants at all times. He always has that thing filled. But no, and then Freddy's trying to kill him with the shadows in the street. He's running around, and then I love Freddy is like, "Oh, I'm not strong enough. I'll let Jason have this one."
So he breaks that barrier a few times because he looks like he looks in the camera and he's like talking to the audience. Like, I mean, that's like, again, they make this movie. They made this movie fun. I think that's what it is. Like, like they just made it fun. And the fact that Freddy's talking to the audience, I think, is hysterical. Like, it's just so ridiculous.
The exact line is, "I'll let Jason have some fun." And then the kid wakes up and he's like kind of scared, because that's when Freddy like slash at him. And then that's when the kid wakes up, and then he looks over at his dad. And then he's like, Dad. And his dad's head falls off. Yeah.
The dad was like staring at it. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
And then he gets up. I love the machete kills like that. I love that in all the old Friday the 13th. I don't need to see the stab. That is cool. But I love, like, you letting your imagination run when you see the machete go and then just the blood squirt against the house. That looks awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of this, I think Freddy kills only one person in this movie. I think he gets shafted a little bit. Jason, he only kills the one person with the one guy in the mirror that he says Freddy's back.
Oh yeah, is that really it?
That's it. Jason kills everybody. Jason literally, and I mean, obviously, talk about the party. We'll get there. He literally kills like, so many people. And like, again, I like Jason. I like Friday the 13th, but like. In this movie, they really make you a fan. If you're not a fan of Jason, they make you a fan of Jason, because he's just like
that is true.
He's so badass in this movie. Like, he just doesn't care. He just goes on a tear.
It's like he's the badass, and it's like good cop, bad cop. Good cop. Freddy is the funny one that you're like listening to and like hanging every word.
And then you bring in the muscle.
Jason's on beating the shit out of the guy in the interrogation room. Like, And now we get to Jason Ritter. John Ritter's son. If you can't, when you see him right away, you're like, oh, that's John Ritter's son.
Oh,
like,
easily.
Within like, you see it. Yeah. And then now we get him in a mental hospital. So then right away we get the exposition of like why he's there. So he's in there because he saw Lori's dad kill her mom. And they bring that up because on the news, they show the house and that there was a brutal murder there.
What a coincidence that as soon as he talks about that, it's right on the TV.
The timing of it, right?
I do like his friend. His friend was pretty good.
Yeah, he's in trying to think what kind of, he's in like kind of like one of those, not obviously we covered Dorm Days, but he's in a Dorm Days type movie.
Yeah, he seems like
Mark
that character.
Is great in this.
Yeah, he seems like that character in like so many movies. Like he was, to me, like I didn't like a lot. I mean, like I think Ritter was okay. Like I don't think he was that great, but I think he was like probably one of the best characters, the sidekick. I think he was great.
No, the fact that he put his life on the line. Yeah. He's a good friend. He puts his ass on the window, like, and he's howling like a monkey. And he does that, gets Trank, thrown in the bed, and you can see he's like exhausted from getting tranquilized. And he did that just to steal the guy's key card.
Which means, why didn't he do it all this time? Like they escape. Like their plan was to escape. And I guess go to his ex-girlfriend, who he hasn't seen since she was 14. So it's been, you assume I guess she's probably like 17 right now. So it's only a couple of years, even though she looks like she's 24. But like, so why didn't they try to escape all this time?
Maybe they really were going to, I don't know. It's not like they had a sentence, right?
No. And like, did they explain why he's there? The brother?
Oh, because he thought because Freddy killed his brother. So I think he believed that. So all the people there were the kids who were on Hypnosil.
I got you. Okay. So
just we'll get into later.
Just to hush them up. Throw them in there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Shut them up.
Yep.
Lock it up, throw away the key. Okay. So then we get Lori's dad.
Oh.
So this guy, he's in a ton of stuff, and I feel like he always plays this. God, he is trying to drug his daughter within seconds of being home.
He is the creepiest dad. I mean, and I forgot this movie, so like his interaction with his daughter in the beginning, I'm like, he comes across so creepy, and then they play on it later on. So like I wasn't expecting it. I just thought like he just seemed a little creepy, and even she, like the way she hugged him goodbye, like it's a very weird relationship.
Yeah.
But God. What a creep. I mean,
And then we get Sheriff Williams, future guest Gary Chalk, talking to Lori's dad. And then they're talking like, they're hush hush. We really need to keep this contained. And Lori obviously is with an earshot. So kind of dumb to the fact that you're doing that. And then they go to school the next day. Oh, that's when he's trying to give it to her in the orange juice. And she's like, no, Dad, I don't want it.
Not even trying to, it's like that. We see it in movies all the time when they're taking the stuff right out of the capsule. Like, it's like really like trying to poison his daughter to like, but is that to put her to sleep? Is that what he's trying to do?
Well, he's trying to make it so she doesn't dream. Hypno still basically makes it so you can't dream anymore. Like in the other movies, like Nancy gets drugged by her mom, but that's just regular sleeping pills. So she is going to dream. And but
she's going to school. So why is he giving it to her now?
He doesn't want her to go to school. That's when he probably thought she was going to stay home. But then that's when she's like, no, Dad, I just want it to be normal. I need to be with my friends.
Okay, so that pill, though, puts you to sleep, but doesn't give you dreams. So it's a sleeping pill that doesn't make you dream. Is this such a thing?
I don't know.
This sounds weird.
There's some people that can't dream, so somebody's probably listening right now. Did you know, like, 25% of people don't have inner dialogue?
How do you know?
So they can't, like, right now talk to themselves.
How do you know? Are you one of them?
It's a study. No, I can do it.
You can do what?
I can talk to myself inside my head.
I think everybody can. What do you mean?
No, trust me, 25% of people can't do it.
They can't talk to themselves in their head.
In their head.
How do you know if they're lying?
They hear no. Why would they lie? 1 out of 4 people going into like a food court at the mall, they're lying. What do they have to gain?
Because it's a story to tell at a party.
Oh, the story. Oh, wait, the story is that they lied at the.
They lied that
survey?
They can't talk inside their head. I don't buy that. I can't like. It's the simplest thing to do.
Okay, at sequels only. Let us know if you have no inner dialogue.
I want to hear this. I want to see the stats on this because I find
they can't hear it. They can't hear it.
I don't know. That seems a little weird.
So then we get a little weird. How about we get the stoner guy who's pretty much Mewes from
Jason
Mewes?
100%. I mean, yeah. I don't think he could have gotten any more Mewes than he was. I think he could have played a stunt double. That's how Jason Mewes he was. I mean, from personality to looks. I mean,
who would you say is he more Mewes or is the frat bro more Billy Bob? Because he even has the same jersey. He wears number 69, which Billy Bob wears in Varsity Blues.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. He did look like him too. And
he's still having to say this, he's half the size of Billy Bob. Billy Bob's
he was definitely was Billy Bob the guy that lost all that weight?
No.
You know what I'm talking about? The guy from American History
X? You're thinking of the guy from Remember the Titans that lost a lot of weight. Yeah, no.
American History X. Yeah, okay. They look the same.
Yeah.
Okay. All fat guys look the same.
Not anymore, dude. That guy will beat the shit
he's huge.
So then we have Lori. She's telling her friends about the nightmare that she had about Freddy. And then out of nowhere, Mark comes and because she's talking about the girls that were jump rope, and he's like, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. And she's like, Mark. And then Will is on the other side.
So, okay. So Mark knew all this time. And that's what, so I for some reason, then why didn't Will know? Like, Will didn't seem to know.
About what, Freddy?
Yeah.
Well, he knew about Freddy. He just doesn't know that what's revealed at the end of the movie.
No, but he seemed to like, he knew about Freddy, because I felt like he didn't seem to know what was going on.
No, he knew what was going on. Well, he thought he was in there for a different reason, which we'll talk about.
Right.
Well, we go about it right now. He thought he was in there because he tells Lori, hey, I was sneaking into your house one night.
Right.
And I saw your dad murdering your mom.
But that's what I mean. So, like, you know, if he knew about Freddy, he could easily think that, you know, something to do with Freddy. So, like, I feel like he just didn't know. Like, I don't know. I feel like they knew more about Jason than Freddy.
Yeah, well, Mark knew a lot about Freddy because that's how his brother died. Like the suicide, he knew that it wasn't because my brother would never do that.
Right. Okay. And by the way, do you know who his brother was?
Yeah, the Farkas from A Christmas Story.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And the brother on Titus. Titus was a great show. He was good in that.
Yeah.
And then Lori passes out after she sees Will. So I guess he doesn't tell her everything. But freaking cameo, the Mr. Cameo, Bob Shea, he makes sure he's in every Friday the 13th, every Nightmare on Elm Street. It's so funny.
Yeah. It really is. No.
Always.
Like I said, I think this movie was a good throwback to both series, the way they did everything.
I like Kia's first. So then they're at the nurse's office. Right away, the nurse is a total bitch. Like, so I don't know when Kia really falls asleep. Like, when do we get to the dream? Because the lady was shushing her the whole time.
She, like I said, like the kids fall asleep so fast in this movie. Like, I there was no time. Like she was literally having a conversation. 2 seconds later, she's thinking about Freddy. Like, so it was just weird how fast that happened.
I love the magazine was just like normal, like lines showing plastic surgery, and then page, then blood open. I'm like, whoa! And then freaking Freddy says, "I got your nose."
Well, first she talks about getting a nose job.
She asked the lady, and she shushes her again.
Right, so that's why Freddy did the nose thing. But so Freddy still doesn't have his powers yet.
He doesn't yet. No, he doesn't have enough yet.
But because he did take her nose off in his land. So I would assume she should have had like cuts when she woke up.
Well, she did grab her nose and she did feel something. So I guess maybe it's like a stamina bar in a video game. He doesn't have enough to go against the boss.
She grabbed her nose because she wanted to make sure it was still there. I don't think she.
Yeah.
So like I feel like you know when he did the shadow there was nothing because he had nothing.
Yeah.
He was literally with her and cut her nose off. You saw her nose come off. So I would have thought that she would have came like with a little blood or something, like something.
Yeah, there should have been something like a nosebleed. I guess that could have been something if she like grabbed like a tissue to show that, hey, how did this happen? And then that could have been good to make you think like, hey, he's getting closer.
Right.
To, entering or be able to like harm people in their dreams.
Gotcha.
And then this is where you really figure out like how deep it is. When Will and Mark, because obviously we know when they're talking about it at the mental hospital, but when they go to the Springwood Library and they're looking at all the records and everything is redacted in black, like no names, his brother's suicide is just like nothing. There's nothing there.
Why would they even leave it in there at that point?
I don't know.
Like, really they blacked it out with like a marker. It looked like it was a marker, like they highlighted it in black. Like at that point, how about just take it out of the library and no one could find it? Like
it's like somebody's trying to read it. It's like today's news: the man house dead.
Or it's like they couldn't have made it any more obvious that they're hiding something. Like it's literally right in your face. Again, that was just so dumb because they easily could have left the books out and they would never have found anything.
Yeah, or just burn them. They should have burnt the library down.
You could throw it in the garbage. You had to burn it.
Well, because then there's a real excuse to it. Instead of saying like they could have been like, "Oh, the library burned down 7 years ago," and they're like, "Ah."
So you're saying to get rid of 2 books to burn down the whole library?
Yeah, to cover it up. You want to be in. You got to be in.
That seems very extreme and extremely violent.
Dude, the people in this town are extreme. We see coma patients from hypnosis.
No, I understand, but you're talking about 2 books that you easily could just throw in the garbage. Or how about ripping the pages out? No, you'd rather burn down the entire library for 2 pages.
Yes.
Okay. That seems a little excessive, but
going deep, man. And then maybe they have to find somebody that has like a special. Now, then it would add a time to the movie, but no, the fact that you're right, they should have thrown it out. It was so obvious.
It just looks so stupid. Like, as they're reading it, here's underlined here in black, here's black. It was just like so stupid. Like just right thrown in their face.
Or hide it like in American Pie. Remember in American Pie when they had the little book to show how to like eat vagina and like make people go crazy? How about they were like, oh, there's nothing here. And then, hey, what's that behind there? They blow it off, blow the dust off. Then that has the Freddy stuff in it. I don't know. It was just too, like you said, when he held up the page, it was all black rectangles.
It looks so stupid. It's just but you know what? It definitely raised some red flags to them. So, they're on a mission.
Yeah, dude. Yes. So then we get, and then that's when we find out Mark, I mentioned it earlier. He says, oh, my brother was killed by Freddy. And then Mark, this is like the thing that is funny because he changes because he is right, but then he's like, wrong in a sense of why the adults are doing it. Because he's like, oh my God, the adults are actually covering this up. And then seconds later, within the same scene, he's like, oh my God, what if we release Freddy? Because now people know about him and we mention his name in the school. We're screaming it. So everybody's giving him power.
Because he said something like, Will is Ritter, right?
Yeah.
He said, you raised fear to every student in that school.
Oh, yeah.
It is his fault.
It is.
Yeah. Everything was going fine until he got there.
They should have stayed in the mental hospital. This kill would have, then I guess Laurie and everyone else, they would have been on Hypnocell with him. So they would have been reunited, really.
And they all would have been hanging out together. Yeah. So there you go.
Stoner guy, Jay Mewes, would have had all the pills he wanted. You'd have been fine. It would have worked out great. So then we get it. You mentioned it earlier, the legendary cornfield party. This is like up there.
Let me ask you something. So, rave parties were. I was too old for them. It was like a 2000s thing, I guess. Early 2000s probably, or whatever. Have you ever been to a rave party? Like, do they really have them in the middle of a cornfield like that?
I remember as a kid, people would go to them, and like older kids would talk about like one being at a warehouse and they were going. I don't know if it's real, but I guess it is real.
Well, like in a cornfield, and it looked like it was perfectly manicured for that specific purpose. Like they had
we used
everything
to party.
you needed.
We used to party in the woods, like by us, and we had a big clearing that we do.
Yeah, but I think woods is different than a cornfield because when they had like the sky view of that cornfield, it literally was in the middle of a cornfield. Like you have to travel through the cornfield, a long time to get to the square patch.
See, I wouldn't go to that, just like I wouldn't go in the foggy lake with Victoria Stills.
Not at all. And we see plenty of people walking along in this cornfield. So yeah. I mean, I don't get it. There's no fear in these kids at all.
I know. Then we get Kia, who's kind of like the tough exterior. She's a real bitch to Linderman, who's like, he's good too. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's great. At first I thought it was Miles Teller. Sort of looks like him.
He looks just, and it's funny. I Googled both their names and like together, and plenty of people said like they were separated at birth. Like you look at them side by side, they look exactly the same. They really do. Look at that, Dermot Mulrooney, Dylan McDermott situation. You also have the Thandie Newton and who's the other one from? There's two of them. One from I don't know. You've seen them. You see the one from forget it. Come on. So Linderman obviously has a crush on Laurie, and then you get Kia, who's a huge bitch to him. Will shows up, so she really just no matter what wants Laurie to have sex. Like that's her mission, and she's thinking the guy who escaped the mental institution is the better chance than Linderman, the virgin. So she's like, come on, Linderman, let's dance. I don't know if I would. 10 seconds later, she was ripping him apart. 10 minutes before she was 10 seconds before. That's what I mean. Oh, yeah. So, and Linderman is not a virgin, by the way, because he says if you pay for it, that doesn't count. Or I love that. Yeah. Count. So. But is that real? Is that part? It's a part of a dream. So we don't know if that's real. Was it part of a dream? It was. Yeah, that was a dream part. Yeah. Wait, what was part of a dream? Oh, the part that conversation when they're having that conversation. Okay, I got. I thought you meant the cornfield. Okay, yeah, she's ripping apart, and then he's dancing with her 2 seconds later. Yeah, and how about when Laurie says, "I just want to dance, Will," and I'm thinking about like, dude, you escaped a mental hospital. Cops are looking for you. Some guy just got murdered at Laurie's house. Let's just dance in the middle of a cornfield. I would like get out of there. Like we've never seen the kids in Elm Street ever like try to leave. Like, what if you went to, I don't know, Youngstown, Ohio? Can he get you there? Well, Freddy? Will he travel? You know what? Has he ever killed outside of Elm Street? Well, yeah. Well, in the original canon of the franchise, no. Right. That's what I mean. Like in the original. So this is part of the original. So yeah, I guess he probably can't. Maybe Elm Street's the only, that makes him weak. Yeah, the only one that when he looks really different is like Freddy's Dead, right? Because I remember that movie's so weird because it's like in like an empty cul-de-sac that looks like the middle of nowhere. It doesn't remind you of Springwood, but I have no idea. Right. But at least Jason, Jason's gone to space. So Jason,
and he's been to Manhattan.
He's
been on a boat.
Yeah, he can kill anywhere. I mean, you know what? I'm starting to become a Jason fan.
Yeah, I kill, will travel. That's what it says on his LinkedIn profile. But no, exactly. Like, he'll do whatever. So then we see Gib. I guess she passes out because she started to have a dream of her dead boyfriend, who, no joke, he channels the voice of, God, I can't think of his name right now. Vincent D'Onofrio. When he's in Men in Black, when he's Edgar, he's doing like, come on, babe. Come on, get your ass over here. So,
I mean, this part gets creepy.
I hate it.
I really do. It's such a creepy scene, but I do like the kill. But I hate the scene. Like, it's such a creep. Like, it was really unnecessary.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. It was good that the way it ends, but I do like the first time you see Freddy because she travels into a silo barn thing, a boiler room that's on the cornfield property. And just the first time, like in the intro, that line when he says, the only thing to fear is fear himself. And he points to himself.
That was awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is like, now you're like, all right, seems like Freddy's back and he's going to get his first kill. And his reaction to this is amazing. Like, I loved it. And I think that, like, from here on, I think Freddy was just very funny. Just like, he's just like so tired of Jason. Like, I thought it was great.
Oh, dude, when the blood comes out, when he's like a spider, when she's hiding in the locker, which he tosses her off the thing, she lands on top of this set of lockers. She hides in it, and he's like a spider with his legs on top, and he's getting ready to stab her in the chest. And I just love when the blood goes on his face, and he's like, ugh.
No, he had such he really had such personality in this movie. I mean, he always had personality, but he was great.
Oh, dude. And then how about the fact that the creepy raver that's on top of Gib?
That's the point. Oh.
She's already like sliced on the ground, but I guess he has a little bit. He's caught. The bones are caught because he throws him 100 yards away.
Okay. 100 yards. He might have thrown him to space. The way he threw him, and he threw him from the machete. Like, so he didn't even pick him up. Has Jason ever done anything like that?
Has Jason ever thrown anybody like that before? No, not that
far. I mean,
no.
He threw him like, it was so ridiculous. Like I said, they really went over the top with a lot of this. I mean, it was very funny, but like so ridiculous.
No, he's definitely
launched him.
No, he's super strength. Even with some of the kills, like what he's able to do in this movie. No, he's insane.
I can see him throwing across the room, which he does a lot in this movie. You know, he tosses people against walls. But he launches. It's like it's into space. Like, it was the most ridiculous thing ever.
Ah, dude. And then here's my favorite, like, intro to the movie. I couldn't do the entire scene, but when Freddy walks up on top of
it looked like it was like, you know, it looked like it was like could have burned up pretty fast.
It was burning corn. Is that what you're saying?
It could make a little popcorn.
A little popcorn. But like I said earlier, when he gets the cigarette flicked on his face, that's like no smoking. This would have been the perfect beer ad because he hits the one guy, machete goes through into a keg, and it basically stops the flames on his body. That could have been like that could have been a Coors Light ad.
So yeah, I mean, so in this movie, he gets cigarettes thrown at him and beer spilled on him, and he doesn't flinch. Like, it just keeps going through the motion. Like, nothing phases him.
He's that drunk buddy. Getting cigarettes flicked on him, beer spilled on him, and he's like, "Hey, let's go."
Who's willing to fight anybody? That is, you know. I still laugh though. Like, you had these two high fools, drunk and who are whatever, and they're talking. The guy looked. First of all, a guy walking into a cornfield with a hockey mask on, who's 6'5", you're gonna have a conversation with him.
I know.
And let's be honest. You can see strands of his hair. So he obviously doesn't look right. I mean, you know, you don't need to take the mask off to know that something's not right with this guy. You're out of there. I mean, you're not going to have a conversation.
Yeah, the fact that they think like, hey, we're going to teach this guy a thing or two. It's like, it's not even worth it.
It's not even worth it. No. And you can insult him right away.
Yeah, and the fact that, so this is the next part. It seems nobody knows about him. Later, Linderman talks a little bit about him, but even at this point, I feel like he did research and they cut that scene because in the next scene, they're in Mark's brother's van that Will took, and not Jay. He says, "Man, that goalie was pissed about something," and he's smoking weed with Linderman.
Well, that's how he relaxes. Listen, I mean, that's now. All right, let's get back to the van and the house. He's been away for how long? And the brother's been dead since then. The van just starts up. Like no one. The fact that he's able to have a house, there's electricity still in the house. No one's lived there for 5 years or whatever.
Well, his parents might still be there. That's what I was thinking about. Where does parents go?
Well, they don't mention them. They weren't there at all.
No, that's what I mean. Maybe the dad drives it every so often to bowling practice. I don't know.
And why does it look like that? I mean, it is the Scooby-Doo van. It really is.
But then even at this part, what did you just endure again? The night before, you see a guy get folded like into a bed that isn't a foldable bed. And then this, you see murder upon murder in a cornfield. What are we going to do? We're just going to drop everybody off one by one so they can go home.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're not either, one, going to the cops, or two, going to your parents and telling them, listen, we have a murder. We just witnessed a massacre. A massacre. It was a massacre of all my friends that I was just partying with. You're just going to stay quiet and you're just going to be like,
I know. Honestly, that's what makes no sense. And then, so the last person get dropped off, Will broke out to save her. He's like, Laurie's like, I have to go home. And the dad comes right after. This is when he tells her about the story about, hey, I saw your dad kill your mom with this knife. The dad, in the pouring rain, comes to the window. Laurie.
What a creep. And basically almost murders Will.
Dude.
He was about to murder Will. He's a nut job. I mean, this guy's a weirdo.
But he can't, for a guy that's in the biggest conspiracy in anything, like documentaries could be done by this, the fact that they're covering up this guy's murdering kids by putting them into comas, he doesn't have a quick answer for his daughter that just says, I thought you were just a general, which is weird that he's a general practitioner, but he could sign off on putting people in comas.
Well, that's just the title he gives. So I just don't know. Will seems like he's in decent shape. How is he getting manhandled by this father?
No. Well, maybe they don't let him work out in prison.
Well, he's not in prison.
Mental hospital. Maybe the hypno still makes you weak.
All right. I'm just saying, you got my girlfriend's father putting his hands around my neck. I'm not going to sit there and let him kill me. But
you're not on Hypnosil.
Well, that's true. All right.
Maybe one of the side effects is noodle arms. They do that purposely so they can't fight back.
Then you know what? I know a lot of people that must be on it now.
But the fact that he can't come up with one answer when she's like, Dad, you knew about Will and never told me. And he just, Laurie, it was for your own good. And then she's running away while this guy's trying to knock down her door. She climbs out of the window fast enough, which in the pouring rain, that's got to be pretty slippery. And her dad, I love when he's yelling out the window, Laurie, come back, Laurie. Like, yeah, that's going to work.
Between both of them, all they do is scream.
That is true.
And she was screaming this entire scene, screaming at her dad to stop, screaming at her dad, just screaming the whole time. And she winds up back in Will's arms.
Do you think they always scream like before this, when everything was still good? They just scream, I love you. I love you. Take out the trash.
Maybe it's hard of hearing.
Maybe they both are.
See? Okay, so that makes sense now.
Oh, God, that's great. And now, so Will's hiding in the bushes creepily. When he was in the van, he's going to sit there and get soaking wet. He could get sick, Like, why would you sit in the rain? They go, hey, we're going to go to Mark, who's the expert. And then Mark,
that was, you know what? Again, I like this character, but that was rough. I mean, first of all, the fact that it's showing, like, where was that video? Was him sleeping? You saw the video? Was that what it was? He saw the video of his brother. He saw the video of his brother
Well, he sees it. He sees it in the bath. He's in the bathroom. He looks over and sees it.
No, but it was a video it was showing on his computer of that.
Oh, to start it. Yeah. No, yeah, so it starts playing, and then he hears the bathroom, and then that's why he goes in there.
No, but I'm saying, what, is that a video that he had, or he fell asleep, and that's what Freddy made him watch?
Oh, I'm guessing he fell asleep, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
I think that would be saved on the family computer.
You never know. This is the family birth, the family death.
Right after the time we climbed Mount Washington.
Here's when your father fell off the cliff.
But this whole scene when he's getting ready to take the last wake aid pill, that's the name of the pill, and then Freddy spooks him a little bit, and he drops it down the sink, and you see the pill going down, and then he has to look over and see his brother. And I love this scene because I like him as an actor because I think he's funny on Titus, but the way he's talking and it's Freddy's voice, great.
Yeah, no, it was a good scene the way they did that, and this poor kid. I mean, I
think they did that perfectly for you, like somebody that doesn't watch a ton of horror movies. I know you watch like the main franchises, and I've made you watch a bunch more, but for you to like a guy, I think that's what horror is. They get you to like a character, and then like we're gonna crush your hopes and dreams.
I think that's part of it. Is there's a lot of characters not to like. So I think, you got to kind of pick and choose the characters you are like.
That's true.
You do like. So I think that's part of it also. You got to find. There's got to be at least one character you like.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why.
But the fact that his brother's screaming, "Why won't they remember? Help them remember!" And then he's standing there, the blood's coming, and you see like the first thing that I guess it's sort of like snake kind of creatures that stab into his foot, and then there's actual ginormous snakes.
Yeah,
what
was that? Was like I thought he was like turning into a tree. It looked like roots that were coming out of his, But that's typical Freddy. Like we haven't seen that yet in this movie. Like that's in every movie he does something like that. Like I love in the beginning when Robert Englund was giving some flashbacks of like some of the old movies.
Oh yeah,
show them the marionette puppet.
Yes, we did.
Scene. So so that was very cool to see something like this in this movie because Jason's been getting all the glory all this time.
Yeah, and then Mark says, "Somebody please wake me up," and then like right at that point, that's when we get Will. They see him sleeping on the computer. And Freddy, at the same time, when Will and Laurie are looking at him, he's in the dream world. And he's like, "I need you to tell them." And he's like, "No." And he's like, "I guess I'll have to tell it myself." And dude, when he rips his shirt and it says Freddy's back in burns on his back.
See, this is why I love Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Jason is great. He kills everybody, but he kills everybody with his machete. Freddy. And we discussed this with the other Nightmare on Elm Streets. So creative in all like his kills. Every kill is different. Like there's never one kill that's exactly the same. It's so creative, and that's the one thing about this movie was missing. We have a lot of the machete kills. Like I said, this is the only kill that Freddy gets. I would have liked to see maybe one or two more.
Crazy.
It is because I feel like it is a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I feel like because it's all about him getting his power. It's all about Freddy.
Yeah, it's true.
So, like, I'm surprised that they didn't give him like another one or two kills, before.
No, I know that's
so.
That is pretty crazy when you really think about it. So then we get Sheriff Williams. We find out he's actually covering it up. He's talking to like another deputy, and Stubbs is the one I was wrong before. He's the one who mentions, "Hey, this looks like Jason Voorhees, the Camp Crystal Lake killer."
So
he knew.
He's willing to. Well, he's older too. So that's right. I mean, he's older than them, so he should know.
No, he should know, but it seems like everyone else in the town is kind of like not thinking. Sheriff Williams doesn't think it's him,
or pretending they don't know. To look at.
But when they want to pretend that it's Jason rather than Freddy, because Freddy is what they're trying to cover up. So,
I guess, but you know what? Is he willing to put his career, in jeopardy?
Because he's like, "You're out of town. You're an out of towner. You're new around here." It's like, where's he from? Maybe he's from New Jersey. Maybe he knows it, or somewhere had newspapers. I'm sure it made the back page of the front page of USA Today. Crystal Lake killer, kids turn up dead.
again, these are the things that, everybody should know.
Yes.
It's just so ridiculous. But now the rest of the movie, he's helping these kids with Freddy and Jason, like doing illegal stuff. Like he's throwing his whole career away. He's a new cop and he's throwing his career away.
Cares about the kids, man.
Okay.
Cares. He shows up.
Or
is
he trying to get the glory of like, putting Freddy or Jason down?
Oh, I guess a little bit of both. You get a couple book deals, maybe a TV series.
Well, as long as you don't put the book in the library that you're going to burn down.
That's true. Don't put it in that library. Don't put it in that one. So then we get, all the kids are hanging out and he pops in and he does a Scooby-Doo reference. He says, maybe it's a Scooby-Doo van, the mystery machine.
With that, I want to say that they did that purposely.
Yes.
It fits.
And the stoner Jay Mewes was Shaggy. He's Shaggy-ish.
Oh, totally.
So, it worked out perfectly. So then this is the first time I wrote, I know it's been like this the whole time, but were Laurie's boobs always out like this? Because here, this is where, that's when she kind of nods out and everybody's sitting at the table like, you know what? We should just sacrifice somebody to Freddy. And it's like, oh, well, how about a virgin? And then that's when the kid says that line. So did you lose it like that?
I'm thinking, well, that's true. I'm going to say no. He doesn't seem the type that would get, pay for it. So I'm going to say he's still a virgin. But, I noticed that also, like, she didn't seem this big in the beginning of the movie. So maybe she had, like, some kind of surgery done in the middle of filming.
I don't know. Just the fact that they kept, like, it was
because
like
they kept showing more and more. They kept showing more and more as the movie went on.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. I'm not saying like it's not a good thing, but it was just kind of odd. But then the fact that when you get her dad show up, her dad's like, yeah, Laurie's a virgin. And he goes, give daddy a kiss.
How grossed out do you think she was filming that scene?
Well, grossed out no matter what, but I guess because their arguing relationship made me feel like they were really father and daughter that had this thing. So it made it even weirder.
That's what I mean. Well, I mean, I'm talking about grossed out as an actress, though. Having to kiss that old, ugly guy. I mean, like, again, she has to be 22, 20. He looks like he's in his 60s. So, like, how gross is that? I mean, it's that alone, but then the fact that you're playing father and daughter. Just, such a creepy scene.
I hope that guy wasn't creepy. I hope he was really like, all right, let's get this done in one take and not like, oh, wait, I think we need to do it again.
You know what? I could see him doing that. Can you imagine?
He's purposely like, wait a minute. Oh, you didn't want me to put my arms in the air? Okay, I guess we can do it again.
Well, you wouldn't do that?
No, that'd be creepy. I'm not. And then Freddy makes it like the dad kissing his daughter is creepy, but Freddy, again, very creepy. He says, your face says no, but my tongue says yes, yes.
What is it with Freddy and his tongue? Because I feel like his creepy tongue comes out in every movie. Whether it's through the phone, whether it's like, he's always like flapping his tongue up and down, like with girls, like he's always using his tongue.
I guess for like a man, that's the only sexual thing you can show on camera, right? It's not like Freddy's going to put his penis through the phone or anything.
That would be a different movie.
Right in her ear.
Penis Krueger.
Penis Krueger. Phallic Krueger. So then the whole gang, the Stubbs and the Scooby and the gang, they break into Weston Hills. They're trying to figure out what Hypnocil does.
So they seem to be able to break in a lot easier than breaking out.
That is true.
They were like, there's no security there. There's no there was one security guard, but outside of that, there's no cameras. Like they were able to not only break in, like no alarm going off or anything, not realizing that someone's entering late at night, with the key card or whatever. That's obviously stolen. Why would the key card work anymore after they find that the guy finds that his key card's stolen? Like they would have got
it's not like the guy would be like, oh, you know what? I probably just left it in my car.
Yeah.
They give him, they erase
give him a new one.
Yeah.
Correct. So, and then the fact that they have access to any place in that hospital.
And there has to be more than one security guard, and you got to think the other patients. if Mark in the beginning of the movie is able to get out of his room, get into the common area where the TV is, and put his ass on the window, sure, other people are in that.
Easily. And if, as crazy as Mark was, he was playing crazy purposely. There's crazier people there.
Yeah.
So okay.
So the stoner guy has to take a J break when they're going through one of the rooms. But here's the big question I have: why is Jason there?
I don't know. And how did he get there? Like, how did he know those kids are going to be there? Like, he travels all over in this movie. How? How does he know where everybody's going?
I don't
at
know.
least Freddy's in everybody's mind, so I get that, but Jason should not, he kills a Crystal Lake. It's a small little camp area, very simple. He knows where everybody is. This is a little out of his territory.
Yeah, I just don't get, I know his goal is whenever he interacts with teens, he has to kill them all. So I get that, but
unless he's connected to Freddy somehow. And wherever Freddy goes, he goes.
So Freddy can fuck with him, just bounce from one dream on one side of town to the other side of town and back and forth, I guess. But
I don't know. And like I said before, it doesn't matter how he got there or why he got there.
No, I know.
He's gonna start slashing, and that's why we like Friday the 13th.
Hell yeah, dude.
You don't need a rhyme or reason.
And how about they should have called this movie that Friday the 13th. That'd have been good.
That would have been good.
But that security guard gets it pretty bad because the fact that the door looks almost like an alien is banging into it, and he thinks, "Let me get closer." Wouldn't you stand farther back of the door? That's seems like a moose is running into it, and then the next time we see that door, it's on the ground and blood everywhere coming from underneath.
Well, bullet holes. There were bullet holes too.
There was bullet holes. Yeah, there was. Yeah.
From the one security guard.
From the one security guard. Oh God. So then we get the room with all the coma patients, because those are the ones that got too much hypnocell, so they're in these lifelong comas.
That was creepy. That was creepy.
Oh, I hated it.
I hated
it.
Yeah.
It was creepy seeing them, and then later after the guy gets high, he goes in there. But the fact that Laurie's dad is the one she's like, who would sign off on this? Laurie's dad is the one that signed off on all the medication for everyone in there.
Would they just leave that information out there like that? I mean, obviously they're doing things that are not too, not right. So why would you leave any kind of evidence at all of what they're doing?
Not for nothing, dude. They left everything in a public library. So you think they're going to hide it even in a place that should have no access? They don't even probably lock the doors there.
That is true. Again, they have one security guard, so okay.
So now we get Freebird, Jay. Thinks, let me get high right now. Time to get high. And Freddy, the human centipede looking thing.
Well, okay. So at this point, he knows Jason's there, right? Because they heard the gunshots, or doesn't it? Because the other guy leaves right away.
Yeah, Stubbs leave when no. I think he does know, but he's like, yeah, gotta burn up.
That's what I mean. So he decides, you know what? I gotta smoke first before really it's.
And I gotta get my J break, man.
You know what? I did like this part with him.
It was cool.
Coming up. It was very cool, and I think just the way he did it, his face and everything. I think he did a great job.
Yeah, I thought it was so cool that he's ripping the bong, and then he crawls out of the room, and
well, you got that worm first. That worm.
That's what I mean. No, he was the centipede. Yeah. But he crawls out to make him normal. Go into the coma room. Everybody sits up with the eyes again, with the blood. They're looking at him, and then that's when he goes into the other room, and he's
Flushes
being told, Hypnocell. He's like, no, I can't flush that. And he looks up, and that's when Freddy jumps into his body, going down his throat.
But Freddy can't do that himself. He needs to possess his body to get rid of the drugs.
Because it's something in the real world. So in order to he's getting into his body, now he's in the real world now.
But he's still sleeping. Because he only has powers when you're sleeping.
I guess he's sort of I don't know. Yeah. Because I guess he's not sleepwalking because he's pretty fully aware.
That's what I mean. He didn't fall asleep. He just smoked. So is Freddy? See, again, he was smoking. He didn't fall asleep.
Well, he could have been so high that he fell asleep.
Standing up?
Meh. I've read about it.
Oh.
So then we get, Freebird, Freddy's inside him. He's pouring all the Hypnosil out, all of it. And then he gets like 2 huge, syringes that aren't for people, right? Why do they even have them in the hospital? They were for like horses.
Yeah.
And I love this scene when he's standing there and they run past him. So at this point, Freddy was just like, fuck you, Jason. I'm over you.
Yeah.
And because Will walks right past him like, Freebird, come on.
Well, you know what? The fact that Freddy completely ignores the kids, like he goes, you know what? Like, because normally he would have slashed at him, whatever. But like, he's like, I got to get rid of this guy, like Jason. I got rid of him, you know. So this is a very cool scene. The only question I have is, all right, so Jason's been hacked, he's been axed, set on fire, he's electrocuted, and horse tranquilizers is what puts him down. I mean, first of all, he's a zombie, so he doesn't sleep anyway.
That is, dude. Yeah, he doesn't sleep. You're right.
So there's so many questions.
Yeah, but it did give us something cool. It was so. I think the whole last like act of the movie was so cool because it's almost like you have Rocky 1 and Rocky 2. You know, you have the first Rocky because when he stabs him, Jason feels the tranks in both sides of his neck, and his last ditch effort, he machetes the guy in half.
Yeah. And that was pretty cool, though. The way.
It looked great.
But okay, so their plan at this point, now we find out their plan was to tie him up and take him with them, right?
Well, that wasn't their plan yet. Like that's as the audience, we didn't even talk about that until we saw the reveal because that was kind of creepy about it. But before that, like I guess during the fight, so now they're in the dream world. It's like the heavyweights are finally really going at it, which is so
This is the first time. Yeah, this is the first time they're sharing the scene together.
And it's like watching a karate movie. It's like watching the Hong Kong karate, the way they're kicking each other, the fight scenes. It was awesome.
But see, okay, so this is one of the things I have. So like, I feel like Freddy did more karate stuff than anything else, and that's not Freddy. Like it's like all of a sudden he knows karate. Like he's a dream guy with creepy monsters and like playing with that. He's not Jason Bourne. Like he was fighting like with Jason. Like I said, he does an elbow. He drops an elbow on Jason. Like it's just so ridiculous. Like he's a karate guy now.
Well, if you remember in Dream Master when they needed to save money on the budget, that Alice's brother who trained for months with Alice doing karate, he did a scene against Air. And then just the glove came out of nowhere and killed him. So I don't know if he knows karate, but it was just so cool. Even seeing them strike each other for those few times, you're like, holy shit. Like, I don't think any other battle would, I don't know. I don't think Michael Myers versus Jason would like do the same thing for me personally.
It wouldn't because they have the same mentality. They both walk slow. They just slash like Freddy, like, again, Freddy talks, so Freddy can talk and taunt. He can, you know, he's definitely taunting Jason the whole time. He's laughing at him, and he can do more. Like, you know, where Jason just stood there. Like, pretty much the rest of the movie, when he's fighting him, he either picks up Freddy and throws him, or just like swings at him. Like, he doesn't really do much. You know, it's Jason. He doesn't have to.
And Freddy, he has the pinball. How about a pinball machine? Then he's like,
so, but why didn't Freddy do more of the you know, like the bugs in his feet and rooting him to the ground, or like he didn't use too much dream stuff outside of the pinball. He didn't use much dream stuff at all.
He didn't. And he used water.
But that's it. Well, when he realized that he was afraid of water, that was cool.
Which he should have known. If he knows that he can get this guy to go to Elm Street to kill by using his mom, he has to. Well, I guess he doesn't know because
they never discussed that when they were in hell.
Oh, they didn't talk about that. Hey, our pasts are off limits. We're just talking about tonight's poker game.
Off the record, we can't use it against each other. You know.
But how creepy was it when he turned into this is when, so cut to, they show in the van, they have him duct taped down, and their plan is to go to Crystal Lake because, we missed it before, but when Freddy creepily says, like, your face says no, but my mouth says yes. She ripped his ear off.
Yeah.
So she figured it out like Nancy did in the first movie. Hey, I can pull him out. So that's their plan to get to home field. So the first fight was in Springwood.
Yep. But, okay, so is there a fault with this plan? Because either way, one of them is going to survive.
Well, hopefully not. They're hoping for a double knockout. Rocky won.
That would have been pretty funny if they both fell down that way. But I mean, in their minds, they're like, all right, you know what? Are they picking the lesser of two evils? Are they saying, all right, you know, we can manage Jason better than Freddy? Like, because by doing that, you're still going to have one that's going to kill the other in their mind. What are they going to do? I guess because
I guess Jason, because he's tangible and he's been killed before. Freddy, I know they do take care out Freddy, but he's like this. I don't know. It's so hard.
There really is no answer to this. Like
there's no right answer.
There's no, like, I just want to know what their game plan was. Like, what if they feel that Jason could kill Freddy? All right, now what?
Well, they thought they could drive from Ohio to Jersey within the same night. That's a little questionable.
That is true.
Too.
Well, maybe because Jason was in the car with them, he could teleport. So.
How creepy was it when Freddy was like, I want to know what's going on in there. And you saw the little Jason boy quivering with, I love when he had the mask still on. That was pretty neat.
Yep.
And the fact that he was quivering and you saw the claw going to his head, dude.
You know, this movie, again, we talked about it, how there's backstory, there's Jason without a mask, there's the boy without a mask. Like, they do a lot. Like, I like this part of the movie, and I love the taunting of Jason back in the camp. Like, that's something we've never seen before. And it was sad and creepy, but it was cool to see his backstory. We never saw the back. Like, we heard about the backstory. We never really saw it. And I thought that was a great throwback.
Yeah. And then at the same time, Laurie's setting a watch. So she's going to take the trank.
Okay. Why is she the one going in?
I don't know. I guess because that makes no sense. Wouldn't Will be able to do that? I was
gonna say, you have these guys there. You're like, you're not gonna, like, you're gonna let her do it. Like, it makes no sense.
I guess because it seems like Laurie, because she's in that house, and maybe she's like a point of contact that Freddy's already infiltrated her like 2 times. She's had like 2 dreams of him, so she has one more than Kia. I guess.
Yeah. All right.
But
he does offer. He does say, "Let me do it." Right? I don't want you to go in.
That is true. Yeah.
So,
but she says, "I'm going to pull the fucker out," or she says she has a pretty badass line. I don't think
he really wanted to go in. I think he was like, "No, I'll do it." No, and he's probably like, like, I got to throw it out there once, but I really don't want to go in.
The Larry David empty gesture. Oh, I didn't think you were really going to let me do it. But no, that was what was kind of great about it, was the fact that we get her going into it. She has the watch, so in 15 minutes. And what are we going to get right away? We get a quick, when we see inside of Jason's house, before we get to the dream, before we get to him tormenting his kid, we get a quick boob of when they open it, when Jason opens up the closet in his own house, and there's a dead body floating naked.
Like, there's no reason for it. At all.
None.
But again, it's Jason. I'm telling you, it's only Jason. So it's like they have to like have that continuation of nakedness and Friday the 13th, because it goes hand in hand.
But this scene's great when you see Laurie go, "Are you going to save that boy?" The exact line is, she goes, "A boy is drying. Are you coming?" And then the counselor turns to Freddy, and the girl who he's having sex with is now dead and naked. And Freddy says, "It's not my fault this bitch is dead on her feet." And he waves her dead arm.
It was cool seeing him at Crystal Lake. It was just so good. But again, that whole scene, the lead up of why they were talking, like, did they explain why Jason was bald, like, as a kid? Like, he literally was like a Jason Jr.
He was Fester. He was Fester from Addams Family.
He had the one strand of hair. Like, I mean, like, they don't, like, I never thought of that. I know that's how he comes out of the lake. I just assumed the lake, like, just, melted everything off him, whatever. I don't know, like, as a kid. But to see him, like, alive, looking like that, he always deserved to be getting beat up.
He probably, like, he ate like lead paint chips as a kid, and he grew up like next to a nuclear power plant because everything about him and his parents must have been inbred.
He looks like the original Toxic Avenger. He looks like a Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
He looks like the Toxic Avenger kid.
So then we have Lori. She wants to, in the dream world, in the dream Camp Crystal Lake, she wants to save Jason, but Freddy's drowning him in the water, which is so wild. And then at the same point in the real world, Jason, duct taped up, is starting to like choke and drown. And then they're trying to figure out who's going to be mouth to mouth. Linderman, luckily, was born with asthma.
Or so he says. Oh, no. I think Will confirmed it. I think he says he does have asthma. But, how gross. When she first takes off slowly takes off the mask and it like spits blood. Oh, that was so gross. What makes it think that mouth to mouth was going to do it anyway?
He should have lungs. He shouldn't have anything.
He really shouldn't have. He doesn't have a breathing issue. I mean, he can breathe underwater. So.
Yeah. And the friggin' throw, and then right when that happens, he gets up, rips the duct tape, the van flies. Ken told me a funny story was that he wanted to do a lot of the stunts in this movie, like the fire one, but they wouldn't let him do it because he was the lead Jason. But he goes, it's so funny. The last day of filming was that scene. And they go, yeah, Ken, you can do it. And he's like, oh, now I'm expendable.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Insane that a real person had to do that. Flying out of the van.
And he got launched.
Oh. Crazy. But how about Freddy, the way he looked? I thought that was so cool when Lori and him are going at it. He transforms when he's on that dock. He looks like the devil. Like he's totally, so he is from hell, obviously, but he has this different look to him that is so great.
Now, the rest of this is just so awesome. I mean, we waited like the whole movie to get to this point. So, yeah, this is Rocky fighting Drago. Right now.
Dude, it is. And we see, so then Lori again, they're still fighting. She's like, Will, wake me up. She's now at her house. She goes upstairs. She sees that it wasn't her dad that killed. It was her dad trying to kill Freddy. Freddy was killing the mom. And Freddy's slashing the shit out of her. So she's bleeding everywhere. Will's trying to do whatever. What helps? The fire that was happening.
Burning her arm.
I think, because they were at Camp Crystal Lake already.
I feel like they've done that before, though, in another movie. I feel like another Nightmare.
That's how Nancy woke up. Yeah, that's how Alice woke up. Yeah.
So fire. So burning them is what wakes them up. Okay.
Burning's how you get up. You can't pinch yourself. When people say like, pinch me, I'm awake. It's like, dude, that doesn't work. You got to burn yourself. Yeah. That's how you really do that.
And her arm was in the fire. It wasn't like, like putting a little flame there. She. And I like how Freddy didn't at first realize what happened. Like he was like, now I'm in the real world again. Because this has happened to him so many times. In a lot of the movies. So yeah.
Yeah, because Jason's still trying to rip them up. So this didn't even happen yet. The part with her getting burnt. So we have Jason they're in Camp Crystal Lake in that room trying to wake her up. And that's when Jason comes in and Jason throws Kia. Linderman gets thrown into the wall. He has the hook in the back. He's bleeding everywhere.
Oh, that was gross. And I did see a deleted scene with them in the woods when she walks him to the woods and he sits by the tree. She kisses him.
What's funny? In the one on Tubi, he didn't kiss her. The one I watched, but I remember that. The one that I remember seeing as a kid in the theater, I swear that was in the real movie.
And she goes, "Don't tell anybody about this," or something like that. And she gives him a kiss.
And then he's just staring out and bleeding out everywhere.
Yeah. Well, the way they did that, the camera, as she walks away, the camera pans out and you see the blood behind him.
Yeah.
Because you think he's okay, and then all of a sudden you realize that this guy's dead.
Yeah. But dude, so when Freddy first gets brought into the real world, the look on his face, he looks so confused, and Jason grabs him, and it's like a bar fight from like an 80s movie. He grabs him, shoves him into the window, and breaks through every window.
No, he slides him across the windowsill. So he's knocking out
through every window.
And he's knocking out the wood. Like he wasn't going through each window. He was sliding them and basically breaking down the house.
I love that.
Freddy in this fight, it's so over the top. I mean, that it's comical. Like, it's just like, oh, it's great.
And then he tosses him pretty far. He throws him through the next building.
Yeah, you know what? I Freddy's personality in this whole part is just great because he knows he's outmatched with like strength and everything else. So he's like trying to like get him every other way. And, it's so funny.
So the next scene when you see Will and Lori, because they're together running off. Like you said, Kia was just talking to Linderman when he died. And this scene, dude, I had to, the lines in this scene
that he does in this movie, he's got more strength than he's ever had in any movie. Like,
he was like Jose Canseco. just mashing into that tree. I love that.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like he just, yeah. And it's funny. Like his kills really have no rhyme or reason. He just goes around and, I mean, I know it just, that's awesome. I want to see a movie with like them as partners, like really be partners.
Like Tango and Cash? Freddy and Jason?
They should do like a Suicide Squad, but with like Leatherface and Michael Myers. Now we're talking.
That'd be awesome. I'd watch that. So then the next part, the music amps up because this is like, I guess obviously they fought a little bit in the house, but Jason like kind of ambushed them.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. The music in this movie, every time they're together, the heavy metal, like it's just awesome. Like it was such a good choice.
Yeah. The tanks for like Bobcats and like heavy machinery, but I don't know what they were doing. It fit for the movie, but I love when he's up top and he's like, asshole up here. Just the way he said it is like a guy yelling across the field.
The angry man, the angry neighbor.
That's true.
Get off my lawn. Get off.
And dude, I love the way this looks when he tosses all the rebar down and it's like, and then it starts sticking into him. Oh.
Yeah. No, this whole like, because again, Freddy has to be a little bit more creative because he can't use his normal stuff, and so like that was very cool. And like you're like, all right, he's finally got him, and then he sees that big, what was that, like a safe or something, or what? Like
I don't know.
It looked like one of the things that Indiana, the minecart, looked like a minecart.
Yeah, it was so weird looking, and the fact that Freddy did what we always make fun of the villains for, he gets a little sloppy. The thing's bouncing around like insane, just missing Jason, hitting him a little bit, and then Freddy somehow lets it bump into him. He does a and then falls, and his leg gets caught.
And he's hanging upside down. Like it's just like this is Freddy Krueger. I mean, this is like such as like a sloppy like horror villain. Like it was so funny. Like it just didn't fit, but it fit. It was just so comical.
And the fact that right after that, this is when Jason starts ripping the rebar out of himself, and a minecart, an actual like kind of minecart, falls down on its own, takes both of them, and launches them into the lake. Right?
Well, no, doesn't he cut Freddy down first? I thought he cuts him down.
I don't know. Maybe he did.
So like, why didn't he kill him right away? He could have slashed him, but no, he cuts him down. I guess he wants to fight him man to man.
I guess so.
But yes, the minecart comes down and they both get launched.
Oh yeah, and they land. I think they land on the dock because at that same time, Lori, with her top getting shorter and lower, they're both spraying the dock down with gasoline. And this was a cool thing too, because when Jason has the machete and he's about to hit Freddy, and Freddy last ditch effort slices his fingers off, and Jason stares at his hand.
That was awesome. That was well, doesn't Freddy at some point in this movie get his arms cut off and then he grows them back?
Well, that's in the dream world when they're having the dream fight.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was great.
So, but yeah, he cuts his fingers off. Now, like, does Jason grow them back?
Well, no, they're in real world, so no, it won't happen.
Yeah, but Jason has gotten so many he's got his head shot like mangled. So like I'd be wondering if his fingers would grow back.
I don't know. I can see Jason being like almost like he's part starfish because he doesn't grow limbs back.
Or I mean, was that his dominant hand? Like, well, like now will he be sloppy swinging the machete?
Yeah, he's
got to use his leg.
Jason Voorhees arrested for attempting to kill someone. But
cuts his own hand off.
He couldn't hit the target. And then I love Freddy getting the machete, and he's like tearing him up, dude. It looks so good. The blood, even though Jason shouldn't be bleeding, but the blood coming out of him in each whack, like, dude, Robert was, man, that was so cool.
And then he slowly like, jams it in him.
Yeah.
Like
dude. Yeah.
The slow motion of that was very cool. Like, yeah.
And then same time, Laurie now, I think her top's even lower. She's running back from the house with two perfect, like pieces of wood with the fire on them. And she gets down there. And then at that same time, Freddy and Jason still are tearing each other up. This is when I think Freddy's arm gets ripped off at the same spot.
Yep. And this reminded me of like Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. Because it's like it's the Wolfman and the Dracula fight. You have two icons that are in that movie that are fighting for the first time, and this is what it reminded me of. Like it's like these, as everything else is going on in the background, these two are still fighting.
They are still fighting until she throws the torches down, and it causes everything to blow up. So I know they wanted to light the dock, but Will's like, light it all up. They were pretty close. So all those gas tanks blew up. Yep. They all get launched into the water.
There's a lot of launching in this movie.
Lots of launching.
There's a lot of launching because they both got launched in the water again. So
they're like launching, man. The kids want launching.
See now, okay, so the little problem with this, I know, it's water. Shouldn't Jason be like paralyzed at this point? Because he's in water. Like, he was panicking with the water dripping on him in Freddy's world.
I know, that's what makes no sense. And then Jason takes Manhattan, he swims onto the boat, climbs up the side of it.
And he has fear of water, so like...
And he's in the water a lot of the movies. You got to think, even in like part 4, he kills Judy Aronson on the... Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, but even in Manhattan, when he's in the sewer, that was a sewer, right? When they...
At the end, when he dies and he turns into a
kid. Yeah, so like, it doesn't make sense that he wouldn't be panicking right now. Like, this should have been Freddy's advantage.
It should have been, yeah. But now... And then I love this when Will and then even Will and Laurie are in the water, and Freddy has that machete in the one hand, and this is when Jason comes out of nowhere, and he comes up just to have enough strength to use Freddy's own arm and claw to shove it through his own chest.
That was a great kill. That was a great yeah.
And then Laurie grabs the machete. She says, "Welcome to my world, bitch," and decapitate it.
I didn't like that.
Ooh.
Well, because, and then Jason... See, I feel like in this movie, Jason is the winner. Because he walks away with Freddy's head.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, I wanted Freddy to win.
You wanted Freddy to win? Wow.
Well, he tried so hard.
He tried so hard. You want him to get a participation trophy?
Well, it makes you feel bad for Freddy. I mean, he tried so hard, and he got no glory.
He didn't, and this was out of his element, like being real.
Yeah.
He had home field,
So what happened
to Jason?
Work for him. I forget what happened to Jason at the end.
Remember, he's just sitting in the water, and then you see his eye open and close, and then he sinks to the bottom.
And he's carrying Freddy's head.
Well, we don't know that yet. No, we don't know. No, the very end. So the next scene. So then that's when Laurie drops the machete. They leave. And then they show the foggy lake. Jason emerges. He's holding Freddy's head. And then that's when he walks to the camera and you get a little wink.
Yeah. So they just basically think that Jason's just going to go back. Like he's Godzilla. He's going to go back into the water and, reemerge and, another time. Like there's still a killer. That's that's still free. That knows where they live.
See, I think a better movie than you mentioned before of them working together is now they work together, but Freddy's just ahead. They hang out. The head detective, the head slasher, and Jason. Buddy cop. That's a buddy cop.
That'd be so stupid.
Stupid, but funny.
And Jason doesn't talk, so it's only Freddy talking the whole time.
Well, yeah, and then you have a scene like Freddy's like, "I'm gonna get you late, man. I know you're a little weird kid." And then he makes Jason do the coat on top. Freddy's on top of him. They could be like bosom buddies with them.
What if they did like a mad scientist put Freddy's head on Jason, so they're like Siamese twins, and Freddy's the voice of everything, and Jason's the muscle.
I like that.
That's a buddy movie right there.
That's a buddy movie. We're mixing Freddy vs. Jason meets Reanimator.
Reanimator. See, that would. I'm surprised they haven't all this time. I mean, if you make a Freddy vs. Jason, why can't you do like an all-star, like an Expendables of villains? Like, how cool?
I'm surprised too.
Because I don't know what this did in the box office. I'm assuming
it did really good. Budget 30. Box 116.
Okay,
so really
it had to. Right. So, I mean, why can't they revisit it today? There really hasn't been much going on, and throw them all in there. Like, that would be like.
I guess you'd really have to get Robert. That's the one character you have to have it be Robert Englund.
You don't think he would do it? I think he would do it in a second.
I'm sure he could still do it. Yeah, he's probably what's he, probably 70, right?
He could. I mean, I've seen pictures of him. He could still do it. And, if Stallone could do it in Expendables and have all these like action heroes in one movie, and you have like Marvel and all that, get a horror like together like Expendables, and like that'd be awesome. Like that would work. I think people would absolutely freak.
Oh, dude, no, it's unbelievable. So it's funny. So I had a lot of these fun facts, but there was just so much to unpack. But I got to talk about them really quick. So remember Evangeline Lilly, who was on Lost?
Yeah.
So Lost came out like right around this time, right? She's an extra in the high school scene. I couldn't find her. I watched it. I couldn't find her. But the stunt double for Robert Englund and all the boiler room fight scenes is Rey Mysterio Jr. from the WWF and WCW.
Really?
Yeah.
He's kind of big though, right? I mean, I know he's small, but like he's built. So like.
Yeah, probably for the flying stuff when he's flying back or stuff. That's so cool.
That is very cool. But I wonder how that happened. Like, how'd they get him to do like that's crazy. Like, why? I
guarantee if I looked at his IMDb, I bet you. I didn't look, but I'm saying I bet you if you look, that's got to be a one-off.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
For him to do that.
What a fact. That's a good fact.
So, I think I know your answer is, but would you recommend somebody to watch this movie?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a fun movie. Listen, it's not the best Nightmare on Elm Street. It's not the best Friday the 13th. But like I said, it's a fun movie. This is something that people have been waiting for a long time. I mean, just like you have Arnold and Stallone, if they made a movie before, Escape Plan, I'm sure people wanted to see them together. It's the same concept. And I think, whether you've seen any of the Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th, you can easily watch this. And I think you would enjoy it. It's fun.
I think it's like what I said to Ken. I said, I love that it kind of fan services for both franchises, even though most people I think would watch both. And I think it does it so perfect and so well, and it gets right into it. Again, it's 96 minutes of pretty much everything's moving. It's fast.
Yeah, it's a very fast-paced movie. Yeah, very fast-paced movie. I think you're right. It goes to a lot of nostalgia, a lot of like the only thing, like I said, I don't like is that Freddy had one kill. His kills are always so iconic, and I would have liked to seen another creative kill of some sort.
Yeah.
Maybe the high kid get killed with a big bong or something. Something like that would be a typical Freddy move. And I just feel like he didn't get he got a lot of screen time, but like not a lot of screen time as Freddy, more as the laughter part, that's the only thing.
I think that sets up the buddy cop, the buddy movie that we're thinking about, because I think that means he can just reference this movie and be like, "Hey, remember that time at Springwood? I used to do all my dirty work. It's not on me, cops. I only killed one person that night."
You sound like a drunk guy at a bar. Like that's your Freddy impression. You sounded like the guy. You sound like a Mo, Amanda hug and kiss. But so obviously that's
great movie. That's Freddy vs. Jason. So I said I was going to talk about it at the end, but I think just for like a couple minutes, obviously 200 episodes, we'll talk about what, the next sequel is going to be. But the fact that we had the opportunity to do the math, 127 people, obviously there were some people, directors, writers, special effects, stunt, casting, producers, a few adult film stars. Brittany came on and did a review with us. So I think it's so cool that we were able to get so many behind the scenes on a lot of the movies that we covered and found out things that you wouldn't find online, like some of these stories. But I think the coolest part, to be honest, was obviously us doing this 73 sequels we got to review.
That's it. It's incredible because there's, again, when you first brought this up to my attention, I'm like, all right, yeah, it sounds like cool. And probably out of the 73 movies, I probably have only seen maybe 10 of them on my own. And so you brought a lot of movies into my life. Some I wish I never saw. But it's been a great journey. And the people that you've interviewed, the people that we've got, I mean, I can't say enough nice things about every single one of them. I mean, everybody that we've interviewed, just awesome people, like just so happy to do it with us and, took the time out. And I think that's a big part of it. I mean, that's, for all these episodes, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing is obviously thank you to people I've guested before for reviews or, for the actual interviews. If people are listening right now, that's really cool. That means so much. Like from the people that we've interviewed and guested. There's some people that reach out and be like, hey, I really like the review of the movie. Like Rob Schaefer, Psycho Cop 2. He listened to our review, which is like the coolest thing. But definitely a thank you to all of our listeners that listen to us and continue to share us and follow us and interact with us. And I hope we have a different guests. We love our guests that we've had before, but have some new people that are really interested over the next year. But man, I gotta say, like, the last 200 has been amazing, but it's only getting bigger and better. Like, obviously we're growing, but I think the movies that we have are coming up, some super obscure, but man, I don't want to spoil it, but we have like one of the most legendary, I think the creme de la creme sequels coming up in the next few months.
I can't wait. I mean, that's, again, I know I'm the bad cop in our movie sequel journey. I've been told that, a lot of movies like, I don't like, but the movie that you're talking about right now, I can't wait because that's, to me, a top 3 sequels of all time. Like, it's like, it's amazing. So I think our fans are going to be really excited when we do it.
Totally. And before we close this out and I go into the ending spiel of it, if we were Felix and Oscar Madison, who would you be? Who's the bad cop out of them? I guess Oscar, you're Oscar?
I'm getting insulted now because last time you called me Robin and now you call me Oscar.
You'd rather be Felix? You'd rather be Felix?
Well, Oscar's a slob. So, I mean,
he's a sports writer for the Mets. He's a big Mets fan.
Oh, because he's a Mets fan, I got to be Oscar? He's a slob.
But I'm tidy.
I don't know. We'll have to discuss that one. We got to find a better one. We got to find a better. I would say more Tango and Cash.
Okay,
I like Tango and Cash.
Yeah. All right, I won't go with that.
Who would be Cash?
You'd be Cash. You're more Stallone. I'm Tango.
Oh, okay. Is it an Italian thing?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah. Well, I would choose Tango because he gets with Cash's sister. Yeah,
that's a good win right there.
All right, so the next sequel that we're going to be covering, it's going to be our first action movie in quite a while, and it's The Mechanic 2, which is kind of like a Bronson, the original Mechanic. He died, so there was no sequel to the original Bronson one, but for the Jason Statham ones, they had a sequel.
I didn't
Jessica
know
Alba. Yeah,
I didn't know Bronson made a Mechanic. So,
dude, the original Mechanic.
It's a remake.
It's a remake. Yeah, you got to see the original one. It has and it's Michael Winner. It's legendary because I don't think there's a spoken word for the first 11 minutes because he's setting up this kill and it's very elaborate and everything. But so Jason Statham, he gets a sequel. Jessica Alba, Tommy Lee Jones is in this movie, which I totally forgot. I saw this movie, I think one time. So this would be
Stay
great.
with me.
And I think it's fitting that it's a Bronson tie, and we have Andrew Powers, our own personal Bronson, coming back to break us down. And for this one, I chatted like it was a year ago. I remember it being just as cold as it is now, right around Thanksgiving. Chatted with stuntman and actor Brahim Chab, which I actually just talked about Brahim because Eddie Yang designed a mask for a movie that's coming out. Who's in it? Brahim. So we were kind of talking about him a little bit, and he had some great stories about taking the leap to want to be a stuntman, growing up in France and pursuing his dream. Great story about becoming the double for JCVD, Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is pretty cool, and lots more. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.
This Everclear is kicking my ass.